Excellent. Hello, everyone. Lovely to be here from sunny England. Very cold, but sunny England at the moment. So I'm going to start by quickly sharing a quick poll. And I'm going to launch this poll if you haven't tried this. So I'm just going to launch a quick poll. So it'll ask you who has used microbit Classroom before, because this session basically is going to take you through it step by step, but also with a little bit of what I did during lockdown with it. So I'm just going to let people start doing that poll. Hopefully we will see lots of no's, which is good. A few yeses. Okay, people with yeses, hopefully you will learn something in this session. Because today what we're going to try and do is I'm just going to talk a bit mainly about microbit Classroom and how to use it, but also how I use it with my students during lockdown. Now, when what I was supposed to be doing as lockdown started was, of course, starting to use microbits with my children. Now, I was lucky. We have microbits in my school, so I actually gave some microbits out to the children in my class. They took them home, and so we managed to do some stuff actually with the physical microbit. But actually, what you can do, of course, is everything in the simulator, as you'll know from using microbits and using MakeCode. These are just some of the little tweets. I'm just going to move myself over to the left-hand side. That's out of the way. These are just some tweets I did during the time. And I just found microbit Classroom was a really brilliant way, especially in conjunction with a video conference platform like this, that you can actually see what the children are doing live, and then you can actually comment and give suggestions about what they're actually doing. There's ways of downloading their work so you can access it later as well. And also there's nice ways, which you will see, because I'm going to hopefully get everyone to do this live. Live demos work brilliantly, don't they? We'll see a little bit about how you can actually say how you felt the session went as well. So this is what we are going to do. Now, I do like the 90s toys as well, thank you. 80s toys. So what we're going to do, I'm going to skip away from this. So basically, in a second, what I'd like you to do, and you do not necessarily need to do this, is if in another tab, I would like you, please, 30 is the limit. And so that's why we're going to do this slightly differently, because there's probably more than 30 of us in this chat. Let me just double check the poll. How many people responded? Oh, there might only be 30. So actually, we're pretty fine in terms of people responding to the poll. So what I'd like you to do is open up a new tab in your browser and go to this website that says microbit.org/join. I'll quickly type that microbit.org/join, and this is going to take you to a page that looks something like this, where you'll have to put in a color, an animal, a transport, an object, and then a PIN number. There's no logins required for this for children at all, which is really nice. You don't have to worry about that. Don't have to muck around with creating those types of usernames and passwords. And then you've got this continue button in a second. Now, what I'm going to do, because I'm going to flip to the live screen in a minute, I set up 3 classrooms. I have 3 classrooms running live, okay? Now, ideally, as many of you, I think everyone probably can just use group 1, because I think there's only 30 of us in the people that responded to the poll. But if there's more than that, you might need to use group 2. So what you need to do is click on, once you clicked on that link, put in the class name, which in case of group 1 is Lime, Dog, Helicopter, Saxophone, and then this number. Now, this is what I did with my students. We shared this via Google Classroom. So we're a G Suite school, as you might have guessed from me saying I'm a Google person. So I shared this information within our Google Classroom platform, and then the children could log into the system. And so as I started to do the teaching live and doing live demos, they can actually log in and I can see them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this up for another sort of 30 seconds or so. I'm just let people try and log in. I haven't seen anyone post in the chat, oh my God, I can't do this, it's too complicated. So hopefully we'll be okay. I'm just going to go away from this in a second. Beautiful, Corey, thank you very much. So I'm going to skip. So this platform, if you've not seen it before, someone showed this yesterday in one of the sessions. This is the new MakeCode streamer, which I thought I've got to try it out. So how do you learn things? You give it a go live. So it'll work brilliantly or not. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to see what students we've got. So this is what the MakeCode classroom looks like for the first one. So I'm just going to go to here. I'm going to go click on the dashboard and see how many people. And I've got 11 students that have joined. Thank you very much. In this one, I've got 1 student join the first classroom, the second classroom, and I've got no one in the third classroom. I'm going to put that back. I've got 15 students that have joined, which is good. So you can see this is happening live, okay? Which is great. So what will happen is when you get dropped in, you will get dropped into the editor. And currently your editor should be blank, which is absolutely fine. You can play around, muck around with things if you want for a couple of seconds. Thank you, Sue. Thank you. A few people have joined the second group, which is absolutely brilliant as well. I will quickly put that up again just momentarily. I'm going to put that up again just for another 30 seconds just to get everyone up and running. So you're on an editor, the standard MakeCode editor, which everyone's familiar with. Play around with that, do what you want. Drag some blocks around if you've not played with it recently, but you've been doing. But this is the one of the last sessions of the day. So if you haven't been playing with the MakeCode, what have you been doing today? Learning loads of cool stuff, because I've learned so much stuff today. So I'm going to come back from this. I'm going to go back to the classroom. Now, I haven't shown you how to create a classroom. We're going to come on to that at the end, okay, for good reasons. So this is a classroom that I've already set up. And there will be something I'm going to tweet out later. I'll put my Twitter at the end. That'll have all the slides to this. So I've got all this information. Yes, Python is, you make a decision at the beginning of it, whether you want it to set in, oh, in fact, no, not Python, sorry, it's Java. You can either set it up in JavaScript or within MakeCode. Python is not something currently that's there. I do believe it's on the plan, though. Have I got that wrong? Have I remembered that incorrectly, Andrew? Sorry. There are two options when you sign up, and my brain has gone blank on which one's which. So anyway, so when you get dropped in, so as a teacher, you get dropped into this view here, and there's a few very clear instructions, but I'm just going to go through how this works. So MicroPython or MakeCode, that was it. I couldn't remember if it was JavaScript. So yes, it can. I've set this, of course, for blocks because I just want to keep it simple for this. So this is my interface, and what you'll notice is it looks identical from what you're expected to. Under here, you've got your pair device and all this sort of stuff. Green screen is something I've never played with much, but you might want to play with. But there's this button here, which is the interesting thing. Now, people in, this button here, which says share code with students. If I click this, I'm going to push this starter code to you, okay, to every single person in the classroom. I'm going to do this for both classrooms. Now, the only warning I give you with this is when I do this, it will wipe anything you've done. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you. So all of these students, which is great, everyone here, I'm going to send the code, and you've got a little thing pop up saying, do you want to accept the code? And you're going to say yes to me. I'm just going to do this with the other classroom as well. I'm just going to go up to the top, go to student, go to my editor. I'm going to send the same thing out to the fewer people who are in the other classroom. So hopefully everyone's been pushed some code. So hopefully, if anyone in the chat can just say, yes, I've got the code, that would be great, just to make sure this is working properly. That would be amazing. I only need one person to say it. So what I'd like you to do, okay, I want you to do something very quickly, is very simple. I'd like you to create me what I'd like you to do is very quickly, get the microbit on the simulator, scrolling a piece of text, okay? Ideally, maybe make it scroll more than once. So I've given you the blocks, okay? I've given you the blocks for this, and this is what's nice about this, so you can actually give people starting points. One of the things to think about partway through, hi Grace, partway through is that if you give text, if you push code partway through the lesson, it deletes everything that they've done. So I would only ever do it at the beginning of a lesson because it does erase things, so be careful about that. So I'm just going to give people a couple of seconds just to make something happen. And what I'm going to be doing while you're doing that, of course, I can click across my dashboard. This is all the joining information. I've got 22 people playing, which is amazing. Andy, I notice you've dropped out. If you come back in, put the same code in, you can rejoin as long as you put the same name in, which is quite clever. It will let you rejoin if you have to, if your connection drops or you have to reload something or something like that, you can. Okay? This is the cool bit. This is the bit that's really, really clever. So once people are playing around, I'm hoping everyone's having that time, having a fiddle, making something interesting. Nothing rude, please, because I'm going to now look at your code. So we're going across the top here. I'm going to click on student code. So now I'm going to have a little look. So we're going to have a look to see what people are doing. Now, Andrew in Canada has been very good. He's clicked the finish button already. So, but let's have a little look. So Daniela is doing something, hopefully. So we're seeing some things that are coming up. So hopefully people are making some changes. The interesting thing is it's not live in the sense of I can't see you moving the blocks. I can just see what's in your code editor. So Alina here, I can see she's added a string here. She's got a pause in. She's started doing that. Grace has put in some things in. Hi, Microbit Live. She's put a little repeat in there, which is good. How can you make it? Of course, Grace, happen all the time without needing to, I want it to happen all the time. Is there anything else you could do to that? I noticed Grace has poured another block, which you didn't need to, because I gave all the blocks needed to complete my task. A few other people have clicked finish, which is great. So I can click on finish people's work. Oh, so they've just put that. They didn't change the text, Kathleen here. And what they've done at the top corner, you've clicked on something that says I'm finished. And what happens is you can then rate how you feel about the session. And what it will do, it will drop you out of make code and you're finished. You can come back into the lesson if you want to, as long as you select your name, and you can continue with the task even if you have even if they have finished, they can reload their works. So don't worry if children accidentally click finish, because if children do it and they haven't paid attention, because I didn't say click finish to any of the people who clicked finish, because I could have asked you to do something else. A couple of other people. So Mark, I'm just going to quickly look at someone else's work. Nick at the museum. Oh, hello. So yeah, I put it into a forever loop, which is good. I'm just going to do a couple more people, a few more in progress. But hopefully you can see this is how it works. This is the power of it. I think it's a super, super powerful tool for me to actually allow you to, hello then, to respond to people and ask the questions about what they're doing and respond to it live and actually see it live. This works really well, of course, in the classroom as well, but you can go around and see what people are doing. It's much easier. But of course, if we're trying to still social distance within our IT suites at the moment, or in on our classrooms when we're using our devices, we might need to, of course, step back, and we don't want to get too close. So this is still a really good way of getting that feedback from students. So to get back in, Grant, so you would go back to the link I shared earlier. Let me just quickly go back to this, because I'll quickly flip between the two. So you would go back to microbit.org/join. You put this details back in again, and then it will give you the option to select your name. You have to type your name and put at least 3 characters, and then you'll be able to carry on. Okay, thank you for putting that back in again. But yeah, if you're group 1, that's probably what most people have done. Let me just jump back now to my the live site. Okay, so now what's nice about this function as well is you could just use this as a one-off. I start my classroom up at the beginning. I start my classroom up, brilliant. We fill it all in, and then I finish it, done. But you may want to, and actually when you're using, look, if you're trying to continue with some work that you've done in a previous week, you would want to save this session and then reload it, because one of the things that can be quite challenging, especially for young children, is to make sure they're saving their work, because you can do that within MakeCode. Of course, you can download the hex file and then re-upload the hex file, and that's fine. But some primary children will find that challenge, especially very young children. So this can make this a bit simpler in terms of making keeping all the work in one place, and the teacher, of course, having control of it. So you can see here the people who've finished. You've got those little smiley faces. You can say you didn't like it. You can say I did bad at it. It's got a range of responses. Lots of people have finished. I'm going to click on one more finished person, and I'll show you the next bit. There we go. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. But Kyle, wow, what are you doing? Snowing in Canada. Super jealous. Again, poured on some extra blocks. So I could take Kyle and speak to him and go, oh, why did you do that? And how did you manage this? And have a better conversation, because I can see what he's doing. I can also share student code. Again, if I share that with everyone, if I click share code, you'll see what happens. I could share it with everyone, or I could just share it with individuals as well. So you can get rid of people and share it just with individuals. The thing to be aware of that, again, and I know I've said it before, is it will wipe the code that's on their student screen. So it's something you may not want to do. So at the end of the session, you can do a couple of things. You can download a report. So I'm going to just do this and see if it'll actually do it, and so you can see it. The chat is great. I'm watching the chat as I'm speaking. It's hilarious. So this is generating a Word document, okay? And it takes a little while to do it, but what it's going to do basically is it puts the student's name and then the code they've been doing underneath it, okay? How you get back to the coding strings, because where it dumps you back into the, in fact, you'll see it in a second, it puts you back to, basically back to the microbit.org website. So if you want to just go back to the code editor, you'd go up to the top and just click Let's Code. If you want to get back to where we were, if you want to get back into the classroom, you'd have to go to microbit.org/join and then put the group information back in. Okay. I always do it local because that way it doesn't muck up. Grant, always. There you go. Finally, took a little while there, but this is it's saved. I'm going to click save. And I'm going to try and open this and see if you can see it. Now you should be able to see it. Good. So it's going to open this hopefully on the right. And so here we go. So this is the document. We can just see. You can't see me now. Sorry about that. But you can see all the people who are in the screen, how they're feeling, and then I can see each person's. I can also see the teacher work as well. But you can see this all the way down. So this is a nice way of getting some feedback at the end of the session. I'm just going to close that away because I don't want to keep that up for too long. I'm going to go back into here. But of course, the last thing to do once you've done that is you might want to, as I was suggesting earlier, if you've downloaded the report, you can click Save Your Classroom. So this is what you can do to sort of save the session as it is, even if the children have all clicked Finish, that's fine. And you click Download a Classroom File. So that's what you've got to do. So I'm just going to click on that and allow it. Just going to download a little HTML file. I'm not going to worry too much about doing that. But it will download it, and then you're going to click End Session. Now, as I'm going to hit End Session, it's going to end everyone's session. So just to be aware of people, that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to click End Session. It wants me to download the file. That's fine. I'll just save it. That's fine. Then it won't argue with me too much. And then I'm going to click End Session. End Session. Yep. And then what should have happened to everyone? I'm hoping, if anyone can confirm, it should have, in theory, said the session's now ended. Thank you very much. And so that's it done. Now, this is what it looks like when you start off a session. So this is sort of the beginning of the session in some respects. This is if I was a teacher, how would I have set this up? Because I've shown you, for the most part, what it looks like as a student, which is, fairly straightforward. How you interact with it as a teacher. I've never tried it on iPads. I can't imagine why it wouldn't work, but I've never tried it on iPads. But I can't imagine why it wouldn't work. And then this is what it looks like. Thank you, Sue. And then this is what it looks like to start a session up. So this is not how you would resume a session. That's really important. This is how you create a brand new session. To resume a session, all I need to do, I'm going to see if I can do it now. I'm just going to click on if I open up the file I did before, here we go. So you should now see Resume Classroom. And then you just hit the Resume Classroom button. And then you can invite students. The important thing is that you do have to give out a new code. That is different, but you can see all the people who were in, okay? But you do have to give out a new code. That code changes, but I'm going to close that down now because I don't need it anymore. Okay? But to make a new one, you activate a name. I'm just going to call it test. This is where you choose about Python or MakeCode. It was Python, thank you. Someone told me why my brain didn't know. And then this is the temporary local store. It only ever suggests that. Basically, if it goes a bit wrong for you, it can resume. I never untick that. It always works fine for me. And then you click Launch Classroom, and what happens is it puts you into that screen we were in a moment ago, where you had those 4 options and all the toolbar along the top. Now, do you mean the gear within the when I'm presenting, Andrew? Not quite sure what the question was. I'm not sure there. I'll see if he comes back with another answer. So you click Launch Classroom. Now, the other thing I just wanted to quickly talk about, and this has been mentioned a few times about all the amazing activities within the microbit website, but you can actually under here look at lessons and projects. And anything with the microbit icon means you can push the code directly into a classroom straight away. So I'm going to just quickly show you an example of this. A browser project. Let's just do the beating heart one because that's a favorite. I quite like this one. And if you scroll down this, you've got any code that appears. You've got this button here to open it in MakeCode, download the hex file, and of course open in Classroom. And so you click on this, and then it starts. It's going to either ask me to restart an activity, or it's going to delete recovered files, and then it's actually got this activity, so it pulls the information in straight away when you create a session. So yeah, so it brings that in, that information. Cool. Let me just go back for a second to my presentation. I think I've covered. We've done really well. We've nearly up for time, but we've done quite well. This presentation I will tweet in a minute, and I'll put my Twitter up in a second. And basically, just goes through it step by step. Everything we've just talked about, what it looks like in student view, how to rejoin, microbit classroom, things like that. I'm not going to waste time going through that now because I've talked about it for the last few minutes. This is me on Twitter. So I'm DuckStar at Twitter, Duck_star. I will tweet the link to the presentation out in a minute. I'm presuming there's another way of doing it as well at some point, but I'll tweet that out in a minute. I suppose any other questions in the chat that I haven't. Oh, in fact, I'm going to set one more poll before anyone wants to ask any questions. So here's one more poll about who is keen to now use Google Classroom back at school. So have a little look at this one. Yes. Have a little look at that poll. I'm liking people's third answer because that's an honest answer. I need some more time to play with it because I think you do need time to play with it, which is good. I'm just going to quickly check because we've got about 2 minutes left by my account. I'm going to show one tip. Does everyone in this group know? In fact, does everyone here? I'm just going to quickly actually just go to make code for a second. Something that this does let you do when you're in the join code is for pupils. If you want to get to it, in fact, that's a great question. So if you want to get to it as a pupil, this is, in fact, I'll quickly do this. I'll quickly do this in a new tab. So if I go to make code, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to go to microbit.org. Apologies. So microbit.org, and then if you go up to let's code, that's where it appears. Hopefully that's clear. The short URL for it is classroom.microbit.org, and it will take you straight there. That is a good question. I'm going to put that in the chat, which is good. I'm just trying to see if I've got any other quick questions that I haven't answered. So I'm just going to quickly go back through and look through that. Yeah, so the join one, Peter, is for the students. I've just pasted it in for how you get to it as students. Yeah, cool. Just scrolling back through if there's any. If I haven't answered anyone's question, if you quickly repost it and then I can quickly re-answer it. Scrolling back through to see if there's anyone else who's got a question. Launch classroom for a second. I've got to show people this just in case if people aren't aware of this one. So up here within here, I hope everyone in the call knows what pair device does. It saves so much time when you're trying to use a physical device with children. It allows you to not have to download hex codes. Go and read more about it if you don't know. I've just got to share that extra tidbit because I have to show so many people that. Language. I don't know that answer about language. I have no clue on that one. I don't know if anyone from Microbit in the call can answer that one. New message. Is there an online tutorial for? I don't believe there is one on the website, but as I said, I'm going to share my slide that does take you through it all step by step. Yeah, I don't know. I've never tried to change the language on the blocks within this ever, so that might be a question beyond my means. I could probably work it out, but I'm sure someone from Microbit can probably tell you if you tweet it at them. Yeah, you can push out the call just to just selected students, Pam, absolutely. And I'd imagine it would work similarly for Python as well. Cool. I think at that point, it is now time. I think. Oh, there you go. Andrew's got a video tutorial. If you link it, that'll be great. Of course you can.
Well, Nicholas, this was amazing. You did a great job. You were one of my favorite sessions for sure. So thank you for your hard work in presenting. We'll let the chat continue, but we'll stop the broadcast now. Nicholas, cool. Any closing words?
No, thank you very much. Hopefully everyone's learned something, and hopefully people will be keen to go away and do it. The poll says, what does the poll say? Quickly look at the poll. The poll says how many people we had. 22 people said they'd start using it. Brilliant. And 4 said they'll go away and explore more. So that is great. It's even gone up 31 now and 7. So it's great. So people are very keen, which is good.
Well done. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for attending.